Hello, everyone. This is Michael Hoffman, President and CEO of the National Waste and Recycling Association. It's my pleasure to have with me Chris Hawn, who is the CEO of Machinix Technologies. Chris, thank you for hosting us here in Plessyville, Canada, as we participate in the FILA International Tour. I found the tour of the factory, and you know I'm a manufacturing engineer, so I found the tour of the factory fascinating. But let's talk a little bit about the evolution of recycling and Machinix's role in it, in that technology innovation and revolution, and what we saw today that speaks to who you are.
First, I'd like to say thanks for NWRA and FILA for joining us today. I thought it was a great day. It was excellent to see, such a great turnout and so much participation. Hope you've had a great week. Machinix's role in recycling, we go back to 1970 as a company. We formed more in the agricultural field, and in that we were moving a lot of hay, grain, wheat, everything that you can think of. We started moving into the early 80s, and we saw the opportunities to grow into the recycling platform, and it started in Quebec. It's a very tight province, as you've probably seen, and we started cutting our teeth here and doing some screening and technology, and like you said, 1,000 men on a sort line. Yep. And we're going to get to talk that way. We're not FILA. We're the old guys.
Yeah.
So the FILA guys, they see the technology today, right?
I suspect having that advantage does multiple things. One, it allows you to bid differently. There's that competitive part there. But I would also think it allows you to start forward thinking about what's the art of the possible.
100%. I mean, that's what's happening right now throughout the industry. It's only probably 4 or 5 short years ago that 3 or 4 optical sorter MRF has now become a 15 optical sorter MRF, and now we're putting AI in the front of it. And AI is a vision that I think all of us have in how we're going to be able to not only sort by just recognition, not necessarily having to know the molecular composition of a material.
So we can move away from near infrared and
over
not
time.
Move away, but a combination of near infrared and just a camera, and a plain optics.
It takes that next level to take automation with AI to recognize shape difference, to recognize size difference, to recognize the material, the brand difference.
So how do you teach it then?
It's over time. I mean, it's to say that it's
a programming in and says this is the shape of ABC company's clamshell, and then this is the shape of that company's clamshell, and so on and so forth?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of self-learning, very little, but most of it is done through tagging and understanding, and obviously it requires a very large database.
Are we at a point in technology where you're becoming almost agnostic about the changing composition because you're getting so good at figuring out how to separate? You pretty much, it doesn't matter what I feed it.
Yep.
If you tell me what's in it, I can tune it and I can separate it. Are we there?
Completely there. Close. I would say that we're looking right now, the material composition stream has completely changed, like you said, and we are spreading across belts. We're moving sometimes more volume than we are tonnage at this point because it's light-weighted, and we've all heard those things. But I think you have to future-proof when you design these type systems, recognizing that packaging is going to continue to change. And with the use of automation and AI and those types of technology for optics, it's adaptable. You're a touch of a button and you're saying, I don't want to look at PET anymore. I want to look at polypropylene.
Right.
And you just need to make sure the infrastructure of the system's set up accordingly so that you've got enough bunker space and areas that you can add more materials to the
just because
stream.
you can separate, where are
you going to put it?
Do you have the infrastructure?
Yeah.
Okay, so can we talk a little bit about the market at large? Because you are one of the top 2 companies servicing the US market, and then you also have an international business. One of the challenges we have found as the NWRA, as we did message testing with the public, they don't actually believe that when they roll their recycling bin down to the curb that it's truly being recycled. Help us, them understand that investment.
I've got to say, if recycling doesn't work, I don't know how I've made it to where I am right now. It's fortunate for me because I come all the way back from the days where, I was selling equipment that was making staple fibers from PET. So I've seen it personally. I've seen the end results of what that PET bottle that you throw in your bin becomes in the end. And to suggest that material it's a shell game is crazy, because what was a $25 million system 2 years ago is now 30 and 40 million. The investments that the WMs of the world, the GFLs of the world,
Republic,
WCs,
Waste
everybody,
Connections,
Republic,
yeah.
I don't want to leave anybody out for sure.
No, yeah.
But
by the way, small companies too, Rumpke's and the LRSs and the USAs who are 500 million to $1 billion in revenues are spending money on this.
They are spending major money on it. And you know, it's even smaller than that. I mean, you're seeing some of the smaller capacity facilities that are doing, 10 and 15 tons per hour. And with, the appropriate technology that's put into these facilities, you can really keep your cost per ton down. And I do envision that it's a future.
Yeah.
Are a lot of the municipalities doing that right now? As the private sector, not as much. But like me and you have talked about before, that may be a direction in the future.
The private sector landfill market is not replacing its airspace at the same pace that it consumes it anymore. So over a long period of time, this isn't 1 or 2 years, I would estimate 5, 10 years, you're going to see that private collection disposal market look for the next best alternative for a ton. And in many cases, it may not support building a 60 or 70 ton per hour facility, but it might support building a 15 to 25.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing you say is that Machinix specifically, you can compete on a like-for-like basis pretty equitably on the economics at smaller throughputs.
With the technology where it is today.
Yeah.
It was impossible when it was hand sorters and such. And with hand sorters, the recovery is not there. So when you look at the economics of a system back then, your recovery's down, you're relying on manual sorting, maybe off of a screen, and you've done kind of a rough cut, but you never really had full recovery, very good purity, and a commodity that any of the mills or recyclers out there would want to purchase. So
Okay.
That's changing.
So as we come to the end of our conversation, I'd like to share with you something we're doing, and I think this is near and dear to your heart because it's near and dear to your customer. So batteries are a problem, and we have a fire every single day somewhere in our infrastructure, and we've partnered with the U.S. Forest Service, with Woodsy Owl, and we have a campaign now. It's skip the bin, turn your batteries in. What is the potential for your end of the industry to help see them if they get to you, if they get to your customer and they're in the MRF? What's the art of the possible there on, are we getting close to being able to detect them at the MRF?
So the answer is yes, and I think it's along the full chain of from curbside all the way through into the MRF, because we are protecting assets of our customers, and we have to be cognizant of that. There's, in the mechanical separation, trying to get the right batteries, but the problem is once you get it on that tip floor and a loader runs over it, whatever it may be.
Right.
So it's a combination of technologies that are out there in the marketplace that are recognizing when it's going in the truck. So you may be able to detect it. Is it going to be 100%? No. We need to be a belt and suspenders approach.
Can you detect it though once I get into
the answer is technology is there. Development. We've talked today about investment, right? We invest in our team, we invest in the industry, we invest ourselves wholly into recycling, and the investments are there right now in R&D. I can comfortably tell you that the technology is well into development.
It's evolving.
And it's evolving.
Well, this has been a real treat. Again, I want to thank you, Machinix, the family. This is one of those family-owned businesses in our industry, which you love to see. For hosting us today and for a wonderful tour and the experience. And
we appreciate the time. You're right, we are a family, but the National Waste and Recycling Association is a family as well. We hold that mentality close internally, but we also try and portray it externally. So thanks for coming and appreciate everything.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take care.